Okay, today we're going to do 3.9, writing linear equations. In this first part, we're going to write a linear equation when we've been given a point and a slope. And so you can see in these problems that all of them have a slope already given to us and that we're given a point. Another thing to notice is that we have this graphic organizer right here that tells us about where things are at in our formula, our slope-intercept formula. So one thing for sure that you need to realize is that you are going to use what you already have. So if they give you a point and a slope, then you are going to use the point for the x and the y. So when we have x, we're going to put it in for x. Whatever we're given for y, we're going to put it in for y. And then the slope that they give us, so they're going to give us a slope, and that's going to go in place for m. What you're trying to find, obviously, is b. This is what we're looking for, is b. So you can see how this kind of goes along with what is written over here in the written directions. So we have a graphic organizer in the box and then written directions over to the side. So you're going to substitute those values for x, for y, and for m. Oops, picked the wrong one. Into the formula y equals mx plus b. And then you're going to solve for b. The final step is to write the equation in slope-intercept form using the values for m and b. So we're going to find b. They're going to have given us m, and so we're going to use both of those to write a final answer that looks like this, which we've used before, y equals mx plus b. We know all about that. All right, so let's just get into this and do a few of these. So some of these have some really simple slopes. Some of them have fractions, which make it a little trickier, but we're going to do them all so that you have plenty to look at while you're working these problems out. So first of all, you need to remember that this is x and this is y. Always x, then y. And slope is m. So if you're putting those into this formula, then you're going to have 1 equals 2 times 4 plus b. Remember, you're trying to find b. So you put every number you have in its allotted spot and then find the letter that's missing. So we're going to multiply 2 times 4 and get 8. And then you have a two-step equation, 1 equals 8 plus b. So we're going to subtract 8 to get b by itself. So 1 minus 8 is negative 7. And so then we find out that negative 7 equals b. But you're not finished. You're going to take that information and then put it in to the form, the slope-intercept form. So this is actually your answer, y equals 2x minus 7. Now, if you're thinking, I'm not sure where this stuff came from, it came from the fact that this is your m and that this was your b. You found your b. So after you find your b, that goes into the formula, and the m that you already had goes into your formula. Okay? You don't want anything in for x or y because we want to be able to use this equation to find all of the x and y's. That's what we do when we draw the line. So if you just have this point, well, that's not really helpful. You want to find all those points. All right, let's work another one. So you've got negative 3 equals 0 times 4 plus b. Okay, so y, x, slope. 0 times 4 is 0. And then 0 plus b is just b. So our b, our y-intercept, is -3. So then we're going to take that information, the slope that they gave us, we're going to have y equals 0x minus 3. Well, 0 times x is 0. And then we would have 0 minus 3, which is -3. So our answer is just y equals -3. Now, what we have here is a horizontal line, because anything that has a slope of 0 is a horizontal line. And if you remember back, or if you look back in your notes from before Christmas, when we talked about horizontal and vertical lines, we had several of these where we had y equals a number, and so what this would look like if we drew a little graph, oh, that's a really ugly little graph, is we would have this line going through down here where y equals -3. Okay, so it's a horizontal line. If it has a 0 slope, no x, it's just going through the y-axis. All right, so if you need a refresher on that, go back and look at that. Okay, let's go down to question 3. Question 3, we're going to have 7 equals 1 times -2 plus b. So 7 equals -2 plus b. 1 times -2 is -2. Then we're going to add 2 so that b is by itself. So we get 9 equals b. So then we're going to take all of this information. We know b, we know m, and we're going to have y equals 1x plus 9. But kind of like number 2, we're not really finished, because 1 times x is just x. And so your final answer needs to be just y equals x plus 9. So you don't want the 1 in your final answer. And when you do the delta math for this, you will need to have this simplified with no 1 in the answer. Delta math won't accept it as the correct answer. All right, let's do another one. This one has a fraction slope, so we are going to have to be a little bit more careful with that. So we're going to have -9 equals, whoops, I wrote the x first, -2/5 times 5 plus b. And then we're going to do -2/5 times 5 in our calculator. So I wish that I could show you that, but it does equal -2 if you do it in your calculator. And then we're going to add that 2. And so -9 plus 2 is -7. So b equals -7. So now we have our m up here and our b down here. And so we can use those to write our equation. So y equals -2/5 x minus 7. All right, let's do another one. This time we're going to have -8 equals -3 times +3 plus b. -8 equals -9 plus b. Then we're going to add that 9 so that we get 1 equals b. So -8 plus 9 leaves you with 1. So now we know our slope, we know our y-intercept, so we can write our line. Y equals -3x plus 1 is the equation of that line. All right, we've got another one with a fraction, so of course we need to do that. So this time we're going to have 1 equals -1/4 times -4 plus b. So 1 equals +1 plus b. So -1/4 times -4 is +1. You can use your calculator for that. And then we're going to subtract 1. So 1 minus 1 is 0. So this time b equals 0. So our y-intercept is 0, or it's going to go through the origin, and our slope is negative 1/4. And so we did some like this in the last video where we were graphing, or last week, I guess it was not the last video, but we were graphing and we had some where b was 0. So when you write that down, you have y equals negative 1/4 x plus 0, but you don't actually need the 0 because plus 0 does not change anything. So our equation is actually just y equals negative 1/4 x. Right? So this one, if we wanted to talk about the graph, it would start at 0, 0, and then it would go down 1/4. And so you would have a line something like this. It's a little bit hard to draw on there without the grid. Okay. Whoops. All right. Last one, we're going to have 4 equals 3/4 times 4. Why did I write a 5? Plus b. Okay. So x and y are both 4. So we've got y and x, and then the slope is 3/4. 3/4 times 4 is 3. So we have 4 equals 3 plus b. Then we're going to subtract 3. 4 minus 3 is 1. So b equals 1. So now we have our y-intercept of 1, our slope of 3/4. So we're going to have y equals 3/4 x plus 1. So there you go for that. And then last one, negative 8 equals negative 2 times 7 plus b. So negative 2 times 7 is negative 14. Then I'm going to add 14 to the other side. So negative 8 plus 14 is going to be positive 6. So this time we have a y-intercept of 6 and a slope of negative 2. So when we write that as an equation, we have y equals negative 2x plus 6. All right, so that's all of that. It looks like that's the whole page. So I will do another video for the next page.